College. 50 people arrested in Operation Varsity Blues. Famous CEOs and actors like TV stars Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman accused of scamming schools, cheating on tests, and faking their kids' academic and athletic abilities to get into the top colleges in the country. Some even used doctored photos like these. Others pretended their children had learning disabilities, paying millions in bribes. Now the man at the center of the scam is pleading guilty. Dozens of parents arrested, and this is not the end. More cases could be coming.
Breaking news involving those crucial black boxes in that deadly Boeing crash. Authorities now sending them overseas as calls grow for the U.S. to take action and join Europe and airlines around the world in grounding or banning the Boeing 737 MAX.
Bomb cyclone. Nearly 100 million Americans on alert for that massive winter storm hitting the center of the country and moving east, bringing whiteout conditions and possible tornadoes after these twisters overnight.
The new 911 call now released. What we're learning about the race to save Luke Perry after that massive stroke.
And overnight, the dramatic twist in that Bachelor finale. Colton making love out of nothing at all, winning back Cassie's heart.
Cassandra and Randall, will you accept this race?
Now the happy couple is here live only on GMA.
Live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
And Good Morning America. Boy, we want to get right to that breathtaking college entrance scam. $25 million, 50 people charged. You saw that Felicity Huffman, Lori Loughlin have been charged as well. We've seen test administrators charged, coaches at elite private schools.
The bust is called Operation Varsity Blues, and the accusations range from paying thousands of dollars for higher SAT scores to presenting students as top athletes in sports they never even played.
It is a little enraging. Some were even accused of faking disabilities, faking ethnicity so that their children could get special privileges while taking the test, all to get their kids into these top-tier schools like Yale and Stanford.
And it is raising a big debate about college admissions in general, whether the whole system is rigged for those who have wealth and privilege. We want to go straight to ABC's Eva Pilgrim. She starts us off at Yale University. Good morning, Eva.
Good morning. It's the largest ever college admissions cheating scam exposed. 300 agents across 6 states, wiretaps, a year-long sting. This morning, 50 people arrested, most of them wealthy parents, all accused of trying to do the same thing, getting their kids into some of the most elite schools in the country.
Operation Varsity Blues, the massive sting exposing the ugly truth that admission to college can be bought, bartered, and stolen for some. The scandal ensnaring actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin, who, along with dozens of other wealthy parents, are accused of breaking the law so their kids could get ahead.
The FBI uncovered what we believe is a rigged system, robbing students all over the country of their right at a fair shot to getting into some of the most elite universities in this country.
The elaborate scheme allegedly involved fake athletic credentials, photoshopping pictures, cheating on standardized tests, and some parents spending upwards of $6 million in bribes. Huffman and Loughlin, just 2 of 33 parents facing felony charges after allegedly doing whatever it takes to get their kids into top schools like Yale, Wake Forest, Georgetown, and the University of Southern California.
You asking for a bribe?
You pretending you're above that?
I got my checkbook.
Huffman stands accused of paying $15,000 to bribe an SAT administrator, while Loughlin and her husband, Massimo Giannulli, allegedly put up $500,000 in exchange for getting their 2 daughters recruited to the USC crew team, even though they did not participate in crew. At the center of the scandal is this man, William Singer, a businessman who ran the Edge College and Career Network, also known as The Key, pleading guilty to charges including money laundering and obstruction of justice. Singer, now a cooperating witness. In one phone call, authorities listened as Singer told one parent how it all worked, saying, "There's a front door, which means you get in on your own. The back door is through institutional advancement, which is 10 times as much money. And I've created this side door." Prosecutors say that side door included $25 million in bribes and a web of lies. Fake disabilities, those fake athletic credentials highlighted with Photoshop pictures, and fake scores on college entrance exams like the ACT and SAT. The scheme included controlled private test centers where a stand-in could take the test or a test administrator could coach or change the answers. Singer allegedly also bribed coaches on behalf of parents to designate their children for admission spots for recruits, pretending the students were accomplished athletes. In one instance, a parent sending this photo showing their daughter playing water polo in high school, but in fact the photo was another student. A wiretap transcript details a father and Singer creating a plan to trick USC into thinking his son was a football kicker. The father laughing, telling Singer, "That's just totally hilarious," admitting his son's high school doesn't have a football team. Prosecutors say the bribes, hidden, disguised as charitable donations to Key Worldwide Foundation, Singer's nonprofit, a tax write-off. Parents of students who applied to those schools but did not get in reacting overnight. One tweeting, "Makes me feel good that my son was waitlisted at Stanford and Rensselaer Poly. He did it on his own, but probably lost out to one of these kids." Those kids' parents now facing jail time include real estate moguls, wine vineyard owners, entrepreneurs like Todd Blake, who tweeted his excitement over his daughter's admission to USC, and trend expert Jane Buckingham, who posted this inspiring Instagram message last spring. "Don't cheat," it reads.
Now, the students are not facing any charges at this time. Investigators say most of them had no idea what their parents did to help them get into their top schools. George?
Most, but not all. And Eva, this is not the end of this story.
That's what we're hearing. Investigators say that there are more parents and coaches involved. This case is far from over, so we can expect to see more charges coming eventually, George.
Okay, Eva, thanks very much for being our chief legal analyst. Dan Ames, for more on this, you just got to take a step back and say, wow, the scale of this scam, the scale of the takedown, just astonishing.
It's amazing, because what would happen is this guy would allegedly come up with a specifically crafted solution for each parent's issue. So in this case, you need a little help on the SATs? Okay, we'll deal with the proctor. We can deal with some of your answers there. Oh, you know what? You want to make your kid a crew recruit? We can do that too. There was a different solution for every parent, and as a result, they're each charged with different types of crimes as well.
And the U.S. attorneys almost discovered it by accident.
That's right, in the context of another investigation.
So let's take a step back now and look at the parents and look at how they could have gotten away with this for so long. These are parents who already have some advantages, but they're looking for that extra edge, and they get a tax deduction to boot.
That's the crazy thing. This has been an 8-year investigation, and you have to wonder whether there's going to be additional charges in connection with tax fraud, right? Because they took deductions on some of these quote-unquote donations as well. So there could be state tax charges, et cetera. The fact that this was a nonprofit that was set up just makes it that much more egregious, right? The parents would donate money to a not-for-profit, and that's what makes it so clear that they had to have known what was happening. That's going to be the potential defense in a case like this. It's going to be, I didn't realize that this was happening. I didn't realize they were going out and bribing coaches.
They have tapes.
Well, they have tapes, but that still could be a potential defense here. It depends exactly what's on the tapes. But in a case like this, where lack of intent is going to be the defense, that's why the tapes become so important.
But the U.S. attorneys have a key witness right here, the ringleader.
And they had, and the soccer coaches turned as well, one of the soccer coaches. So they've got a number of critical witnesses here. And it's interesting because they're making deals, it seems, with a number of them. People say, wait a sec, typically don't prosecutors make a deal with the person, they don't typically make a deal with the person at the top of the pyramid. It seems they may think the parents, in effect, are the top of the pyramid here, and maybe these other people were kind of working for them.
Well, what about the students? We know that some may have known about this. Not all, but some may have. Do they get to stay? They're already in school.
Well, so first of all, if they knew and were part of this, they could end up getting charged, right? If they were part of the fraud.
How do you not know if someone's sitting next to you correcting your answer?
Well, no, I don't think it was sitting next to you. What happened was they'd give them extra time, and then they would go in and change the answers after the fact. The proctors would. So that was how they wouldn't have necessarily known. But question two is going to be, on the university's part. What do they do about someone who'd gotten 1,000 on their PSAT, suddenly got a 14-something on the SAT based on the help that they got? What if the student's doing okay in school? Do they still kick them out? What if they graduated and got a degree already?
They graduated.
Right. I mean, so there are a lot of interesting questions that these universities are going to have to grapple with.
And one of the things here is that this middleman was basically cutting the universities out of it. The universities make deals with parents all the time.
Right. So the question's going to be, should the universities have any liability here, right? And so far what we know is it was individuals. The universities now fired a bunch of people and coaches, et cetera. They're going to say we didn't know about it. The next question is going to be, should they have known about it?
So many strands to this story.
Yeah,
David,
unbelievable
thanks very much.
story.
It really is. We'll have a lot more on this throughout the show. Cecilia?
And we've got other big news to cover, that breaking news involving the battle over the black boxes in that deadly plane crash that killed 157 people in Ethiopia. The crucial piece of evidence remains in Ethiopia, but this morning authorities say they are going to send those black boxes overseas for analysis. But this comes after days of delay. Our chief national correspondent Matt Gutman is on the ground there with the latest. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning, Cecilia. Now that the decision has been made to send out the recorders, the question is, where will they go and when? And that is being debated in that building behind me for the past several hours, including with U.S. officials. Now, international investigators have told us that they are shocked that it's taken 3 days just to come to this decision. Ethiopia was not going to analyze the recorders because that capacity does not exist in this country. Now, those data recorders become even more critical because investigators tell us that the crash site was contaminated. They saw diggers going through the debris and farmers and shepherds picking through the remains, meaning that there is little of evidentiary value left there. Now, the U.S. is pushing for the investigation and those recorders to go to the U.S. because that is where Boeing is based. Cecilia.
So many questions still. Matt, thank you. Paula?
Thanks, Cecilia. And here in the U.S., pressure is mounting on Boeing and the FAA to take action. The number of airlines grounding the Boeing 737 MAX 8 around the world is growing as the first Canadian airline joins the list. And take a look. Those are the Boeing 737 MAX 8s flying in the air just last week. And then look at this. This is the number overnight. So let's go to ABC's David Curley at Reagan National Airport with more. David, good morning.
Good morning, Paula. The more than 70 737 MAXs are in service this morning in the U.S. In fact, one took off from right behind me earlier this morning. Despite all that worldwide action, the FAA says they can fly for now. Countries and airlines around the world this morning are grounding or banning the 737 MAX 8. But here in the U.S., the FAA is doubling down against such a move. We've learned there have been reports of concerns. 2 U.S. MAX pilots telling authorities in November that the nose of their plane suddenly dipped after engaging the autopilot. Another pilot also anonymously complaining about a lack of training for the new aircraft. The FAA says there are no verified incidents in the U.S. similar to the first crash, and it has no basis to order grounding of the newest version of the 737. It has been involved now in 2 crashes in less than 5 months. The president jumping into the debate now, tweeting that modern jetliners are too complex to fly. That led to a phone call with the CEO of Boeing, who told the president his company's planes are safe. The New York Times reporting the head of Boeing asked the president not to ground his fleet. Around the country, passengers are asking, am I flying on a 737 MAX? Do I want to?
No, that's scary.
I think getting to and from the airport is more dangerous than actually getting on the aircraft.
I'd definitely do a different plane.
In both the Ethiopian crash and the one in Indonesia last October, flight crews apparently had trouble right after takeoff controlling the aircraft. But there is no indication suggesting those 2 crashes are related. We're still learning more about the 8 American victims. Among them, Dr. Manisha Nukavarapu, an internal medicine resident at East Tennessee State University. She was on her way to Kenya to visit family.
Her sister had just given birth to triplets, and she was very excited to do this.
And Matt Vasir of California. His mother says he was excited to attend the UN Environment Assembly for the first time. Now, the FAA says its decision not to ground is based on evidence. That's why the data from those black boxes is so important and so timely as well. Cecilia?
It's all about these black boxes right now. Okay, David, thank you. Let's bring in our contributor, Colonel Steve Ganyard, a former Marine fighter pilot and aviation expert. Good morning to you, Steve. So we just heard David Curley there say, you know, the fight over this black boxes has lasted days. We now know that they could be sent elsewhere, likely to Europe, somewhere overseas. But what has this delay done to the investigation?
It's inexplicable. terrible, and it's inexcusable, because every day that they delay is another day we don't find out what happened to this airplane. So the investigation itself should be going on in parallel. They're at the crash site, but they have the black boxes. They need to do the analysis of the data and do the crash site. Look at this black box, which is really orange, so they can find it. This is really just a big hard drive. So we always keep talking about these mishaps, find the black box. That's because this will almost always answer why an airplane went down. So every day the Ethiopians delay it, they're putting the general public at risk.
China, Europe, Australia, South Korea, countries all over the world saying we're not going to fly this plane right now. The FAA is holding firm, and you think that's the right decision?
I do, because there's no scientific evidence at this point that says there's a problem with this airplane. And so until they find a problem, we need to continue to fly this airplane. You know, George, when the Lion Air airplane crashed in Indonesia, that was brought down by maintenance malpractice and pilot incompetence. People are understandably a little bit nervous, but right now this is a perfectly safe airplane until we find out otherwise.
Steve Ganyard, thanks very much. Paul?
Thanks, Steve. And now to that massive storm, a bomb cyclone that's hitting the middle of the country this morning. Airlines issuing travel advisories and canceling more than 1,000 flights. And those tornadoes hitting the south overnight. Rob Marciano is here tracking it all. Rob, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Paula. This storm is rapidly intensifying, or as we say, bombing out, and it's happening right now in the middle of the country. That is very rare. Already 2 tornadoes yesterday reported in New Mexico, one of which did damage, 10 homes damaged and 5 people injured with this. That same line moving through the Dallas area just southwest of Fort Worth. Look at this roof of a home coming down, crashing down, 1 person injured here. We had winds gusting to 78 miles per hour at Dallas, Fort Worth. Ground stop there, over 100,000 people without power as this line comes through. That's not even the center of the storm. Center is over Colorado, where we've got blizzard warnings for 7 states now. Flood watches up for areas that are going to see rain on top of snow, and a huge wind footprint. Over 100 million people in the danger zone here. Winds 40, 50, 60 miles an hour from Wichita to Denver up to Des Moines, and then tomorrow getting up through Dallas as well. So a huge chunk in the country dealing with this.
Sure is. Okay, Rob, thanks very much. We're going to turn now to a major decision on the death penalty. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, set to sign an executive order to suspend executions across the state today. More than 700 people are on death row in California, the nation's largest death row, but no one has been executed in the state since 2006. Back in 2016, California voted to expedite executions by shortening the appeals process. They've consistently rejected doing away with the death penalty, but Governor Newsom calls it a failure that is discriminating against defendants who are mentally ill, black and brown, or can't afford expensive legal representation.
And now to new developments involving the most senior Catholic official to be convicted of child sexual abuse. Cardinal George Pell has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for molesting 2 13-year-old boys. The Australian 77-year-old previously served as the Vatican's chief financial officer and Pope Francis's advisor. He is the first bishop to be found guilty of child molestation in a criminal court. He denies the allegations. He will appeal them in court on June 5th.
We have a lot more coming up on this growing college admissions scandal. What's next for the 2 Hollywood stars, Felicity Huffman, Lori Loughlin, at the center of it all? Could they face time behind bars?
And the newly released 911 call in the race to save Luke Perry, that's just ahead. But first, let's go right back to Rob.
All right, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall expected from Alabama to the upper plains, and 6 to 12 inches of snow in that blizzard. Time now for your Stormy City is brought to you by Febreze Air Effects.
No cover-up spray here. It's the irresistibly fresh scent of Febreze Air Effects. Cheaper aerosols can cover up odors, bearing the smell in a flowery fog. Switch to Febreze Air Effects. Febreze eliminates even the toughest odors from the air, and it uses an all-natural propellant to leave behind a pleasant scent you'll love. Use anywhere odors can spread. Freshen up. Don't cover up. Febreze Air Effects.
Starting out on the chilly side this morning, temperatures hovering around freezing. But hey, on the other side of sunrise, temperatures are going to warm very nicely. 50 degrees by lunchtime today. Will be partly sunny and then mostly cloudy by 4 or 5 o'clock, with temperatures into the upper 50s and some 10 degrees higher tomorrow. It's looking like it is going to stay dry. Some showers for your Friday morning, maybe a thunderstorm or 2 for the afternoon. As the front comes through, that'll leave us with a pretty nice weekend with highs in the 50s.
Busy Wednesday.
It really is.
We'll be right back.
I'll take a Coke.
Is Pepsi okay?
Is Pepsi okay? Is Pepsi okay? How? Are puppies okay? Is a shooting star okay? Is the laughter of a small child okay? Pepsi's more than okay. It's okay! Okay!